What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Game Time Podcast. We are coming to you right after Game 4 of the NBA Finals. The Oklahoma City Thunder not allowing back-to-back losses. We are all tied up as we head back to Oklahoma City. The Thunder knotting it up 2 apiece as we head to Game 5 in Oklahoma City. The Pacers falling short 111 to 104. It was a good game. Honestly, from both teams, in my opinion, I don't think it was a bad game on either side. I think the biggest thing that's going to come out of this game is the Pacers shot 30% from three, and you had a 17% three from Oklahoma City. It's not the biggest thing, but I think when I look at the stats, that's probably the first thing that points out to me. You know, Shai had that 3-point shot, and it kind of turned the tide a little bit. I'm not going to get into the calls at the end because by that point, the Pacers had blew the lead themselves, I feel like, at that point, Darrell. I'm interested to see what you think. But I think in that fourth quarter, it got to a point where, you know, don't get me wrong, I was mad at some of the calls that happened there at the end. But at that point, it just kind of felt like, well, the Pacers kind of did this to themselves. There were some bad offensive possessions. I don't agree with, I think it was the Turner three they took in the fourth quarter. I put out a tweet that said, Turner, keep shooting the ball. It's going to drop. It did not drop, but I mean, it's just one of those things that happen, right? The MVP took over at the end of the stretch. He won the game, and that's no fault to Tyrese here. I think Tyrese was very aggressive in that fourth quarter, and it just did not come out the result that the Pacers wanted. They had a chance to put this game away, and I think they did a decent job, but I mean, it's I don't know how to put it because it sucks, but at the same time, the MVP went in. He played a good fourth quarter. I don't think the Pacers played a bad fourth quarter, but that late game stretch, the Pacers struggled to execute there offensively.
Oh, 100%, right? So you got a 4-point lead with 3 minutes to go. And I think Pascal touched the ball twice in that whole span. So you got your best post player who guy's going to go get you a bucket or either get fouled and you don't give him the ball. You know, I was listening to the radio, and Mark said it looks like what's that a calamity because Turner was trying to set a high screen on nobody, and then Tyrese got the ball and he got it to Nembhard for a desperation shot. I think it was a Turner three, if I remember right. It was an air ball three. Keystone Cops, that's what he said. Keystone Cops, and that's exactly what it looked like. They looked out of sorts for that last 3 minutes and some change. You know, the calls, there were no calls that swung the game towards Oklahoma City. Anybody who says that, that's fine. You got a right to say what you want to say, but there were no calls that swung that game. The play of Williams and number 2 for Oklahoma is what swung that game, right? Those two played big on the offensive end. They had timely second shots on putbacks. They didn't have a lot of them, but they had timely ones. So you got to give Oklahoma the credit, man. You can't sit there and say, well, you can if you want. You can say, you know, the refs cheated or this or that. But from a game plan perspective, you go into the fourth quarter leading by seven points. You know, with 3 minutes to go, you're up by 4. You haven't played your best quarter by any stretch of imagination. Actually, the fourth quarter was probably their worst quarter of the game, and you saved that for the wrong time. So credit Oklahoma. The Pacers took the loss tonight. You pick yourself up off the ground and you go in on Monday and you take care of business. These teams are really evenly matched. There's no crazy significant swing where you would think, oh my goodness, this is such a big advantage for this team.
Yeah.
Shai, number 2 for Oklahoma. Yeah, he's a heck of a player. But with that said, you got a lot of guys you're throwing at him, making him work for everything he gets, and that's all you can do, you know. And I thought that going into the fourth quarter that Oklahoma was wearing down. They got another gear. They got another gear in the fourth quarter that
it
they
felt like the opposite happened
all series. Right. Yeah, exactly. And it looked like the Pacers were like, maybe the anxiety of going to 3-1. All those things came into play, but again, I tip your hat to Oklahoma. They won the game fair and square without referees give them any extra umph. Number 2 is going to get fouls. because he's a foul baiter. Okay, fine. He is
I
about
don't know
50
about.
foul. There's about 50 foul baiters in the league, and he's one of them.
There wasn't nothing that won them the game. I agree.
No.
I think it gets to a point where, and this is not saying that I'm not saying OKC won the game off this. This is just me pulling off the curtain and not talking about the game
Right.
and just talking about there is sometimes where we've got to do better with these jump shot calls. I that those are I'm not
That ain't gonna happen though.
I
That's
know, but
not
it's
gonna
just
happen.
I'm
It just
I'm not talking about the game. I'm not saying it won OKC the game, but it does come to a point where it has to be better. We've had three good games of this, and then we get to
right.
the and let's keep and let's I'm not talking to you about this. I'm gonna the community was right. The community was right about this. Scott Foster had a job tonight, and Scott Foster went in and did his job tonight. That's all I'm gonna say. I
I'm not going down that path. I
the
don't.
extender did it again tonight. He did it in New
He
York, and he did it in this one.
he made a lot of calls in the favor of the Pacers in the first half, man. So I'm not gonna say the extender
Yeah,
did
where
it.
they don't matter.
I'm gonna say the alligator arms in the fourth quarter did it, right?
No,
Yeah,
Benedict. Yeah, we haven't even talked about
and
Mathurin
you
yet.
got Mathurin, misses 4 free throws. It's funny, right? This game is funny. So after game three, everyone's crowning Mathurin as the top six man in
Oh,
the
I was losing
league,
my
the
mind on this
top player, all
pod.
this, and all that. So then all of a sudden he doesn't play. He comes back down to earth, and now he's the not the GOAT, but in a good way, but the GOAT in a bad way because of the free throws missed. But then no one's going to talk about TJ McConnell. Oh, he needs to play 30 minutes a game. He needs to play 30.
No, never.
No, it happens. It's an ebb and flow, man. The good thing for me about the Pacers is this: every game they've had a different guy. And I was telling a buddy of mine, I said, listen, they're not going to play 5-on-3. You can't key on one guy and expect it's going to be a difference making situation. I'll say this, right? So guys were messaging me and saying, why is Tyrese not bringing the ball up on every play? And all I said was, they've done that all year long. He doesn't always bring the ball up. That's coming from people who haven't seen the Pacers play, right? So I'm like, no, I've seen every game this season that the Pacers have played. He doesn't always bring the ball up. It's
Yeah.
okay. That's why you got Nimhart in there. The miss to me was not having a second ball handler in there when he had Ben Shepherd in the game and he had Nimhart and TJ on the bench. I didn't
Yeah.
like that. I
I
didn't
didn't like
like
that
that.
at all.
One of the things we always talked about, well, I always talked about is having two ball handlers because they're going to jump Tyrese.
Yep, they
And,
do
and
it
you
every
should,
time.
and,
They do
and
it
you
every time.
should. But the thing is, if you got a second ball handler, a legitimate second ball handler, I'm talking either TJ or Nimhart, then that nullifies them jumping Tyrese. But they didn't do it. I still take Carlisle to the bank prior to the Oklahoma coach all day and twice on Sunday, and let's see what happens on Monday.
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't know how to I don't really have any words. It's a bit shocking, and I think I think the other big thing that has I've seen in these last couple of games, I'm gathering my words here, is where is Miles Turner in the offense? There's been he's had some buckets, but the 3-point shot for him, it's not been there these last couple games. I'm not gonna
All
off.
playoffs, man.
Yeah, it's not been
I
there.
mean, well, the Milwaukee series and the Cleveland game
Cleveland.
4, I think. Other than that, he's been putrid from the 3-point line, right? And Mark even said it tonight. He says, it seems as though as the game goes, he's lost his confidence in his three. There was a play where he got the ball at the top of the key, about a step away from the 3-point line. I've seen Miles take the step back and lace that. He hesitated. He looked the pass, put the ball on the floor, took a free throw line jump shot. Luckily, he got fouled. Right at that time, luckily he got fouled. So for me, he's lost confidence in his jump shot. So that for me, that tells me go to the basket.
Yeah.
Go to the basket. Get some easy looks or easier looks, and then see what happens with that inside out game. So we'll
Do you think the Pacers should have attacked the paint more often tonight or no?
Yeah, because make it easier, right?
Yeah.
The problem for the Pacers, the problem was they hit all those threes in the first half, and I think that was giving them fool's gold, right? So you start thinking, hey, this is our night to do that, right? And yeah, they played well in the first half, really really well in the third quarter, but those same looks weren't going down in the fourth quarter. They weren't, and that happens. There was some 50-50 balls that Oklahoma got to before the Pacers did. I think Hardenstein was going out of bounds and he threw it off of TJ, which was a great play. Little things like that, those 50-50 balls that make a difference. Again, Oklahoma was a better team tonight for 48 minutes, just like the Pacers won game one after leading for only what, zero point 0.3 seconds in the whole game. If you look at this game, you say, well, oh, definitely the Pacers, won the game. No, after the 48th minute, Oklahoma was up by 7, and that's all that matters. You can say, we carried it, we control it, and that's all fine and dandy. But you have to control it for 48, not for 40. In the Pacers case, for 44, for 44, 45. So
It it's a crazy, crazy game. I don't know. I think the biggest thing that I'm worried about is now you got to go back to OKC and
mhm.
you go back to those first two games. Well, I said it when we had game three. The Pacers had only led 2 minutes in those first two games, so now you're going back to the same place that let's be fair, let's be frank, it gave the Pacers some trouble in games one and two. You've got to go back there, and if we're going off games one and two, it was a lot of playing catch up for the Pacers in these two games in Indiana. They've been able to have the leader go back and forth. Tonight was a misfire for the Pacers. You blew the opportunity to have a 3-1 lead going into Oklahoma City, and now you gotta bite your teeth, you gotta bite down, and you gotta go win Game 5 in Oklahoma City because the worst case scenario is looming over you now of having to go play Game 7 in Oklahoma City with
But
that
how is it?
crowd.
But that's not a worst case scenario, man. The Pacers were prohibited underdogs
No, I
going into
agree.
the
It's just
series, right?
I'm
If
just,
if you if you
if you're a
ask a
Pacer fan, I think it's
ask a
worth.
legit Pacer fan, not those ones that are going downtown hanging out saying, "Look
No,
what
I'm
we're
not talking
doing
about
now."
those. I'm
Not
not talking
those
about
people.
those.
I'm talking about a legit Pacer fan, and I'm one of them. I at the start of the series, if you'd have said it's going to go 7, I said I'll take it. Why? Because they were such underdogs, and they
Yeah,
still are big. Listen, they're a 10-point underdog for Monday's game. All right,
yeah,
check. So what I'm saying is, any person who's watched these playoffs and the Pacers, you would take 7. Now you wouldn't have wanted 7 if you could have won the game tonight. You would have been up 3-1, but you didn't. So now the good thing about basketball is the court's the same length, the same width, the cylinders are the same size. Everybody gets the same amount of timeouts. 5 players on each side. Who's the best team? I don't
yeah.
subscribe to that other stuff, man. You got to be out there and ball. These guys, Pacers are a team that everybody's got to guard, right? Be guarded on that offensive end when they play. Even Turner, while he's not playing, shooting well.
Yeah.
So it can happen. All you need is a good game to get your momentum going, get your confidence going, and you see what happens. And again, I don't know that they'll win. Like I said every time we're on these spots, I don't know they're gonna win. I hope they do, but no. Oklahoma played the type of game that you'd expect them to play with their backs against the wall. Tip your hat to them, man.
No, I agree. I
Yeah,
OKC played a good game. I mean, there was a minute there where Shea was struggling, right? But then the MVP
yeah.
did what
Well,
he needed
yeah.
to do.
Well, yeah, they Pacers. Think about this: Pacers were up 10, and I think either Pascal or Ben missed one of two, maybe two of two, maybe, and they could have went up, 12, and that helps, right? Pacers had an opportunity to put the stake in their heart. They didn't do that,
No, I
right?
agree.
So when they're going to go back and they're going to take a look, this is only Friday. Game's not till Monday. There's a lot of tweaking going on that's going to happen, right? And what I don't want to hear is people saying Hardenstein was in the start lineup. That made the difference. No, he was pulled three
No, he
minutes.
was
He was
not.
pulled three. He was pulled 3 minutes into the game. Stop it.
It's the
So
biggest difference at this point. And there was a quote Carlisle made. It's all about adjustments now. You're at this point in this finals where game one and two is a feel out, And then at that point, you're making adjustments every single minute, every single quarter, every single game, every single
Yeah.
day. That's what it's going to be at this point. What adjustments are going to be made? And the biggest one that the Thunder made is they kept switching Neesmith onto SGA. That was the biggest thing they were able to do tonight. They got the guy that was bothering SGA in game three, and in the first three games, they got him off, and they put Neesmith on, who I'm going to still say is not 100%. It feels like. I mean, he's played well, but
Huh.
he's not 100%. I think for the biggest thing the Pacers are going to have to do, they just, you can't switch. You got to keep Nemhard on SGA, I feel like. Not,
Well,
but not keep him on, but I'm just saying in these
you got to
situations,
fight through those screens. You got to
yeah,
fight
you
through
got to
those
fight through the
screens, right?
screen.
And that's a valid point. You got to fight through the screens. But with that said, you got enough length on the court, man. You got to bother them, right? So everybody's got to make a concerted effort to say, listen, I may not be the best defensive player we got, but I can give the best effort we got, right? And you get that effort like Tyrese did in game three. That made the difference on defense. I'm not nothing with his offense, right? About defense, playing the passing lane, being aware of what's going on, and making things happen. I don't think that Oklahoma is going to, take the Pacers behind the woodshed on Monday night. I think it's going to be a tough game. Big shots going to need to be hit by the Pacers. You're going to have a crazy crowd. But again, they won on that court before. So I don't see it as some daunting task that there's no way there's going to be a chance they can win. No, it's a chance, and it's a
There's a
50-50 chance.
chance.
It's no, but it's again, you go into the finals as a prohibitive underdog, and it's 2-2. Anybody that wears blue and gold would have said, "I'll take it" at the
Yeah.
start. Okay,
Uh,
you
Game
had an
five's gonna be.
opportunity tonight. You had an opportunity tonight.
Yeah.
Didn't get it. But you gotta pick yourself up. You can't.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I don't disagree. Game five's going. You gotta bite down. You gotta go get
Yeah,
it. You gotta go
yeah,
get it at this
yeah.
point.
Go get it, man. Go
Go.
get
You
it.
gotta go get it. And I
I
think
think they'll play looser on the road too, man. The crowd and you got all these you know coach players there and all these people now. That's not what's going on in Banker's life all year, man. Come on, that's not real. What you see these people on the sidelines, that's not real. And I think that it puts some internal pressure on the players. All these ex players, even Billy Keller was at the game tonight. One of my favorite Pacers of all time, number 11, and that's all nice and dandy. But when you go away, now everybody's against you. You got and you fight just like they in the Garden, like again in Cleveland and like in Milwaukee. It's you against the world. That's better because all this hyped up and everybody's picking parade routes and all this stuff like that. Go to Oklahoma, man. Let's see what happens.
I'm curious how game five will go. It's gonna be tough. I don't have a flat out prediction. I want to see how it goes. Because I mean, you gotta. For me, I'm gonna look at the first two games. And I'm just curious to see how it goes. I think now that you've played this team two games in a row in their home court, I think the Pacers could do better, and obviously they could, or it could be the result of game two. You really don't know what will happen when we get to Oklahoma City. I think the big thing for the Pacers is you got to make sure you got to fight through screens when you're Nemhard because he's gonna bother SGA the most. I give credit to Tyrese. Tyrese played well. I think the Pacers did well, but the MVP sat down, took the ball, and he went and scored. And he went and won this game. And I agree with you. Like I said, the calls did not matter down the stretch there in those last minute or two. The Thunder had already had the lead at that point. Um, but that does not escape the NBA for some of the calls tonight.
You're
Because
right. You're right. You're right. You're a
I
million%
and I want
right.
to call them out because I feel like you have to and I think that because it goes in tail with what we've talked about in the past with the flopping and everything else. This is what drives people away from the game when you make these type of calls. And I think that what most people are mad about is not that the Pacers did not lose this game off the calls. It's just the fact that the refs got involved in general off ticky tack fouls. That's what people are mad. Not that the Pacers could have won because it was still a 4 point lead. Anything could have happened. It's just the fact that you interfered yourself in this game before the Pacers even have a shot to win it. Yes, Mathurin missed those free throws, but there's still those parts in between where you're not even giving this team a chance yet because now you're letting SGA not only get a technical free throw, but also the ball back. So it's just, I see what people are saying. And so I want to make sure it's brought up because we've talked about it on this pod. It was one of our first
100%.
episodes. What's wrong
100%.
with the
Yeah.
NBA? And this is one of those reasons. And Scott Foster is one of those reasons too. Whether you're an old NBA fan, a new NBA fan, there is too much evidence to show when they need somebody to make this series a little better, they call in the extender, Scott Foster. He went in and he did his job, and he put the cherry on the cake, and he said, "You know what? We're gonna put SGA at the line." I'm not.
Listen.
The Pacers did it to themselves. I don't disagree there, but I agree with the fact you have to at least give them a chance and not interfere yourself. I feel like we saw too much of the refs tonight. It does not bother me in the moment, but once I get to sit down and think about the game, I'm like, all right, the Pacers still lost this on their own. I won't deny that, but there was still some rough calls.
I give you right, because I've been on our pod since day one. I've complained about the flopping,
Yep.
the arms flailing.
We each have our
problems. The fake falling. My issue, does number 2 for Oklahoma do it? I mean, that's who we see. He's the only guy that we see right now that egregious, and so we all see it. It's in front of us. But with that said, it's a league issue. It's not a number 2 for Oklahoma issue.
It's a league issue, yeah. But, and that's my point. That's my point.
And it goes way back though, man. I remember when I was a youngster. I remember hearing, when I used to watch the television broadcast, and they would say he hasn't been in the league long enough to get that call. Like, he hasn't earned. Well, but you got to understand that's gone on for years. They don't say it anymore, but it's still the same thing. A foul on number 2 for Oklahoma isn't a foul on number 0 for the Pacers. It just isn't, right? So you just acknowledge it, but you can't belabor the point because they've done nothing about it. But listen, think about this: they got a flopping rule in the league. In the NBA, there's a flopping rule.
I know.
I tell you what, you use your statistical data in all your apps and find out when the last time a player was called for a flop in the NBA in the 2024-2025 season.
Probably earlier in the year, just to, it's probably earlier in the year.
I think it was in November.
Yeah.
like I said, the season's 8 months. And if it was in November, that's the first month. My point being is you put a rule in because you have a problem, but you don't enforce it.
Like I said,
that's what that is.
I realize it won't change, but I like we said, we've talked about the issues with the league before, and it would be a problem with myself if I didn't bring it up, because there was just moments tonight where, and like I said, I'm not one that really cares about the foul calls because there's going to be bad calls, but when Nesmith has his hand on Shai's shoulder and then Shai goes for a shot and Nesmith's moving his hand away and he's going to the line. Those are the ones it's not the ones in the paint that bother me. It's the jump shot ones. It's always going to be the jump shot ones. Just like it was the 3-point shot, it's always going to be the jump shot fouls that will bother me the most.
Or the shot you shoot, the guy hits you on the wrist, but you kick your legs to the side.
Yes.
And you fall on the ground.
I'm telling you.
You can never knock a guy down by high-fiving. Okay.
It's just it's the jump shot ones only. The ones in the paint can be really bad, and I usually the ones in the paint could be horrid calls, and most of the time I'm like, well, it's in the paint, okay, that's fine. But these jump shot ones, they infuriate me like no other. Like the flopping don't bother me. I don't like it. Doesn't matter unless it's really egregious.
The flopping bothers me because
we each have our issue.
You can't get knocked down getting high five shooting a jump shot. That's impossible. You guys, they'll crumble their legs and they'll. I'm like, come on, man. And listen, in all fairness, man, Nesmith did it a couple times tonight himself, man. I'm like, come on, don't fall for that trap, man. Don't do that. Just hoop and let's see what happens, right? 2-2 going into Oklahoma on Monday. Pacers got to come out fighting.
Yep,
they got to come out fighting.
I don't really have much else. If you got something, Do you have anything
else
to finish off?
I know there's talk about the Knicks and their coaching search, and there's been a lot of talk about how ass backwards they've been by firing their coach without a real plan. 5 teams have told them no, you can't get You can't talk to our guy. Now you got people pushing for them to hire Mark Jackson, bring Mark Jackson home,
I
right?
saw that too.
You
No,
know, I mean,
no.
I don't say no, I don't say yes, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how well he'll do.
I
I
want
would
Mark
have,
Jackson back in the booth.
I would have preferred Thibodeau to stay because I like the way he coaches, especially against the Pacers. I would have, I would
I
have liked
want
that personally, but
I
you know,
want
I don't. I
Mark.
mean,
Go ahead.
personally, I want the Knicks to go next year 30-52. I
Really see you do.
don't of any team in the league, I probably have dislike for them the most of any team in the
Where are
league.
the
The Knicks.
Lakers in that list?
I don't dislike the Lakers.
Oh, all right, cool.
I just don't drink the LeBron Kool-Aid that many people
That's
do, like
fine.
the Savior Kool-Aid. But no, I don't dislike the Lakers. One of my all-time favorite players, Magic. Still, I believe that Kareem
And you know what?
Abdul-Jabbar, is that dude right there. Was
I've made a I think I've made a change in my point guard list. I well actually I don't remember the last time we talked.
are we doing that Sunday then? You
We
want to do it
probably
Sunday?
should. And
Yeah.
then I think we need to finish up our conversation from a couple nights ago too. We
Okay.
we we talked about the East, but we didn't finish the West. We were on the Lakers
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah. Let's do
Um,
that. Let's do that. But again, big picture wise, man. You look at what's going on with the KD situation. It's heating
which
up.
there is a report there.
They're talking this weekend.
There
Something may
the
happen.
finalists are Houston, Minnesota, and it's Houston, Minnesota, and
It was
Miami.
in Miami. Yeah,
Miami.
Miami.
So those are the
You know,
finalists. We'll see. Miami wouldn't be
not,
bad at all.
none of those three teams I really like. I don't dislike any of them,
I think
but yeah, whatever.
Miami's his best shot because they have picks. They have
Yeah,
picks. They
because
got some role players.
Phoenix needs picks and players, man.
Yeah, and I think
They're
Miami's got the best way to. Miami can suit them the best, in my opinion.
the cupboard is bare. The
Yeah,
cupboard is bare.
I'm
In
surprised
Phoenix, so
San Antonio's not a finalist. Really shocked.
what could they give up besides their top rookie that someone would want?
Yeah, I guess that's fair. I mean, you
You
got
know,
Sohan, who's a decent player. I know I'm just
so
spitballing,
yeah,
but
but to be right, but decent, right? But
yeah,
you want to make a difference. So what comes back from Miami? Do you get the hero?
Adebayo.
Do you get Bam? Do you get a combination of one but not the other and
Yeah.
picks along with maybe Wiggins coming to Phoenix, something like that?
I think when you're Phoenix, yeah, you want picks, but I think you also, I mean, if you get Wiggins, maybe Davion Mitchell, a couple other players,
you
you're
just
in.
you just said Davion Mitchell is so funny, right? Because
Well, I think you're.
When he was in Sacramento, he was called Night Off, right? Off Night. That was his nickname, Off Night, because he was so strong defensively, right? I
Yeah,
mean, strong. I think he's on his third team,
yeah.
and he was
No,
there when
second.
Tyrese.
I think it's a second.
I thought he was in Toronto for a cup of water. Maybe not.
Maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
he was there. He was in Sacramento when Tyrese was there. You know, but you're right. You got to get some type of legitimate NBA players back if you're Phoenix because
Yeah,
you still got the kid from Duke. And if he sees that you're not doing much, he's gonna say, "Hey, get me out of here
get
too."
me out of here. Yeah,
And then guess who you're stuck with? Bradley Beal,
they're stuck with.
the $50 million role player.
So I'm curious to see how Sunday will go. I actually need to talk to you. So we do have a head coach for Saturday, but we may have to
Okay.
record in a way different time slot when we have them.
You mean Monday, right? You mean Monday, right?
No, I haven't heard back. Well, Monday,
Flip. Okay,
no. Monday's
okay,
not official yet. I'll let you know about
okay.
Monday. But
Got
we'll see how it goes. I hope Phoenix can get Booker a co-star. I like Devin Booker. I think Booker needs to get a good team around him because I think when you looked a couple of years ago, you could say Booker was better than a couple of names, and now I think with the recent stars that have popped up, I think a lot of people are forgetting how good Devin Booker can be. So I think
They made a mistake, man. They made a mistake
no, I
breaking that team
agree.
up after the
It's
finals.
the owner. The owner rushed all this. He wanted that team. He's the new owner wanted those ticket sales, so he wanted all these star players. The owner
What a
messed this up
mistake!
for
What
yeah.
a mistake!
No,
They clown Aiton because he was picked first before Luca, before Trey, and all that stuff like that. And that's all wonderful. But he's a solid player. He's a 17-10 guy.
yeah.
That's what he is. Just because you picked him at one doesn't mean he needs to be that 30 and 15 center that you were thinking about. He's a solid player. He played well at Portland this year, and I'm telling you, he would have made a big difference in that team if he would have not been traded and all the other things. And then they got rid of Chris Paul for nothing.
He's gonna make a great difference on the Lakers this year. Adebayo, or not Adebayo, Ayton. He's gonna be a great. He's gonna be. I mean, he's already. You might as well just pen him in, him or Claxton. He's gonna be. They're gonna be a Laker this year.
Yeah, I like Ayton, man. I liked him when he was at Arizona. I've always liked him. He's a good player. He's not a guy who has a crazy high motor. He just plays, man.
Yeah, and I would love him on the Lakers. I'm really excited.
He'd be good for the Lakers because he's going to rebound and he's going to play around the rim.
Because I tell you what, we had a guy like Adebayo, we would have beat the Timberwolves, we would have beat the Warriors. I don't think we're beating the Thunder, but we would have beat Minnesota. I mean, the only reason Gobert was playing well is because nobody could get the ball over him because he's just tall. That was literally it. Other than that, series would be over.
You go.
But look, we're not getting in this Mark Williams argument again. I already told you.
I'm not. Listen,
the kid's not healthy.
I'm done bringing up Mark Williams.
It was a great debate. I loved it though. It was fun.
It's good stuff, man. But to wrap things up, tough loss for the boys tonight. You dust yourself off, man. And you're back on Monday.
Yep.
And see what happens.
It'll be interesting. Like I said, it's going to be tough. Props to Oklahoma. Props to whoever wins this finals, right? This is one of the best finals in a long time. So I can't be mad at good basketball. I really want to go downtown though. So there's a part of me that really wants to go downtown.
That'd be pretty cool, man. That'd be pretty cool. Hopefully.
At the end of the day, either two of these franchises deserve it, right? Oklahoma City's been through a lot. We've been through a lot. I think whoever comes out on top on this.
I would say Pacers have been through more than Oklahoma.
No, I agree. I just think in recent years,
18 years. Listen, 18 years. Come on, man.
I mean, that's nothing. They both had their trials, right? KD broke their hearts. The Jazz knocked them out of the playoffs 2 years in a row. They've seen their things. I think KD was obviously the biggest shot in the heart, but other than that. They've both had their fair share, especially the Pacers with Oladipo's injury and then Paul George leaving. They've had their fair share of bad stuff, Malice in the Palace. But it's going to be fun. Props to both teams. Props to these playoffs. No props,
baby.
No props to the refs. No props to the refs in this one.
It's the best of three. Best of three right now. Let's see what happens.
We'll see what happens. That's going to do it, folks. We will see you guys. Well, actually, make sure you check out the Coach Hester interview for part 2. That just went up. I had some really bad upload issues with that these last couple of days, so that is now up. Make sure you check that out. And then we've also got some NBA rumors. That video will be going up on Sunday, and we actually had Hester for that segment as well. So make sure you guys do join the podcast. Make sure you subscribe and check out the other videos. But that's going to do it. We will catch you guys next time right here on the Game Time Podcast.